Seriously?
So if I just talked all that time for nothing,
What the hell?
can you somebody can post in the chat here? That would
Can
be awesome.
you...
Well, hold on.
Now
Yeah,
there's sound. Ah! So we've been going 5 minutes without sound.
I talked for 5 minutes. Okay, well, nonetheless, hello everybody who has joined us.
Okay.
So yeah, hello everyone who's joined us. Thank you very much for participating in this episode of live streaming with nothing. And as I had started out with our introductions, I figure I'll say depression is real for me. Especially with that fucking cat. But anyways, depression is real because today is one of my mental health down days. So if I'm not as spirited as I was yesterday, I apologize. I try to keep it up and happy. Doesn't always work that way.
All right, so we were just so I'm the Kaiju no Kami, Toku Animation News Network. You know that's Cruellica Kain. So we were talking about episode 20, which was with Abared's daughter, and we're talking about how he is kind of feeling that he's left out because his daughter is growing up and also completely idolizes Ultraman Arc instead of him. So he feels like his drawing that she gave him as a kid is no longer valid. And we have not Godzilla, not Gomez, but it's the giant city of crystals, which is the Force of Solitude from Superman.
Yes.
Which they haven't touched on since that episode. They didn't even mention it in episode 21 at all.
Well, which no.
I'm like, okay, if you're gonna do something like that where there's suddenly a big crystallized city in the middle of nowhere, maybe you need to at least bring it up in the next episode and say they're researching it or something instead of just completely ignoring it.
Well, I was a little confused because it's been, for us specifically, a very long time since we've seen anything about this city with this, and now knowing that there's a creature that can mimic other creatures, that feeds off of glass and other shiny objects, so to speak. And it's like, well, shit, this would have been very helpful. So I was a little disappointed and depressed about all of that. But then again, I'm depressed about everything today.
Okay, yeah, you said it already. You're so depressing.
Yes, I am.
But so then we have, I guess we had some pretty cool camera work in that episode. Mm-hmm. So our next episode deals with Rin's friend, who apparently is constantly abandoned by her co-workers they go do something else while she is working and living in the office.
Well, so when watching her climb upstairs multitude of times, having all of her belongings, like for the wash and things like that, and then when we start the episode where she talks about how no, she can't her parents because of whatever reason, she can't go home for whatever reason, which I'm assuming is probably there. And then she can't go home because her parents are nagging or judging based on for this news agency that's really tiny. And yes, for smaller organizations or small businesses, what the owner chief said is with the bigger organizations, it is not the quality, it is the quantity. And while I don't necessarily agree with that philosophy, it is really true because even if you think about for YouTube, the way to become super successful is to have something go viral. Viral is you have to keep on putting out versus thinking about the quality of what you're doing versus the quantity. So it is a horrible in a realm where you have so many options to choose from. So I kind of thought it was a very nuanced comment, especially when the prior episode was how to have juniors and seniors, or the second and third years in Japan, volunteer at different places. And Skip had promoted volunteer opportunities. But as they said, nobody wants to work there because people want to have that recognition that sometimes comes from being an influencer and all that stuff.
But yeah, and then so she ends up finding this basically red orb that ends up turning into a baby. Givas is the.
No, it was like a dream. No, Givas came in at the end.
Yeah, because he's the guy. This
was a dream bird. So
I can't
remember the Japanese name.
I can't remember the name for it, but then it grows bigger, and she tries to hide it, and then people shoot at it because people got to be assholes.
Zandrias.
And then
that's the name.
Then it turns back into the orb, and then becomes Mandras.
Or King of Mons.
Or yeah, King of Mons. And then Givas comes down from the moon to assist Arc, who I actually completely forgot who that was at first. I'm like, oh, okay, this is another part of her, the orb giving her another creature.
Oh no, I remember.
That was like, oh wait a minute, no, that's the one from like forever ago, before Halloween. The one who was like my friend that they kept trying to transfer. And then was that the one where the fight sequence like threw something in the air and it kind of reversed the camera to
yes.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool fight. So our next episode, which I think is my favorite of the entire series at this point.
And there's chatter in the comments about it. So let me go to the chat real quick.
All right, who do we got?
We have Star Wars Fan and Ricardo PJ Pro both saying hello to both of us. So hello.
Oh, hold on. You are mute. There's no sound.
Oh, well, there's sound. And then Anthony Sarkis asked if I'm doing well. So I'm doing pretty well. I just am, because I'm good with vacations, but if I'm not doing much, if I'm sitting around a lot, I start to get really...
Just play a video game.
I slept until 11 today. Playing a video game was out. But us. Did you hear that Jimmy Carter passed away at 100? Yes. And that was pretty sad. But at the same time, when you think about the fact that he lived to be 100, it is amazing. And the fact that even though he wasn't as ambulatory as he was when he was younger, he was still able to move around and do stuff. And that's a goal I think many people have, to be able to live a long life and have an impact. He was my first president. Yes, admittedly, I don't remember the part of his presidency when I was born. Reagan started in 81.
Oh, yes, that's right. He would have been January of 81 when it started.
Yes. So he was my first president, yes, for 3 months, but he was still the first president when I was born. And it's weird for Americans, but as Americans, we always think about our first president that we were born with, the presidents that we could vote for. Like the first president I could ever vote for was the same president, which was Bush, when he turned 18. So it's really sad that he passed away, but I'm happy that he was able to fulfill his goal of living through the election, even if it didn't go the way the Democrats wanted. And at the same time, he was able to spend, for him being a known Catholic, he was able to spend a final Christmas with his family prior to passing away. And so it's really sad that he passed away, but the dude lived a long time and was pretty awesome. And so the question is, so how's Arc now? 22 was spectacular. Kaiju should have his fans refer to him as Kami-sama, which will never happen.
You need to put more like emotion into these readings. Put more emphasis in like Kaiju should have his fans refer to him as Kami-sama.
If you don't understand what we're talking about, please check out our live stream from last night when we were reviewing Gob with Silverquill, because apparently him and Silverquill did not like my reading of your comments. And
no, you were complaining about the way I was reading them.
Because you were going so boring.
Because I was trying to speed through them.
Well, I don't try to speed through them. I try to give everybody equal time.
That's why I was trying to speed through them so everyone could get time.
Sure of it.
And then Silverquill goes and starts like skipping over the comments.
Oh God, he just looks.
So I'm like, which ones haven't we covered yet?
Yeah. So
I don't know. I try to do all the comments in order, and he's just like, I'm like, okay. I know we haven't done that one.
But no, so I will try to put more emotion. I'm not as dramatic or theater.
Or fine, we could go. Where is it?
I really hope Omega will be as good as Blazer and Arc.
Kaiju should have his fans refer to him as Kami-sama.
Okay, let's.
All right.
But Omega, the next.
That's the name of the next Ultraman series.
Do we know anything about the next Ultraman?
No. We won't know anything about the next Ultraman series probably till March.
Oh. Okay.
We just know that the name Ultraman Omega has been trademarked.
So, why Omega? Does that mean he was kicked out from his pack because he was the weakest? Because usually Omegas are in most literature and everything as the weakest of the group, where the Alpha is the strongest. So I'll be curious to see how they play on that.
Yeah, maybe he'll be a weakling Ultraman who learns his strength through the human he possesses.
That would actually be really cool.
He takes on his own human form, and he's got to learn through being a human what it's like to be
7.
Yeah, like 7 or Leo.
Episode 22 for good, and felt it should have been a 2-parter, which I actually do agree on.
Oh my God, though, that episode. Okay, that's the type of episode I've been waiting 3 years to have. 4 years to have.
So for anybody who has not watched episode 22, really, this was, I'm thinking of like Twilight Zone, or actually Twilight Zone is really where I'm thinking, where you have this story.
Well, all the color has been sucked out of the world, which all I was thinking is Zack Snyder has taken over the world. They're all talking about, they're washing a car, and then you find out, that car was in an attack. We've got, what's his name? Joe has a sling on his arm because apparently he was in the car during that Kaiju attack, and they're talking about how it's been weeks since there was a monster attack, and for some reason, Yuma is trying to look for his umbrella that he can't find. And then they're all like, when was the last time it rained? I don't know. And then all of a sudden they're talking about, do you think because there's no monster attacks,
Skip will be disbanded?
Yeah, Skip will be disbanded. And Abared's like, I would like to open up my own coffee shop. Next day, Skip is just gone.
Well, so basically...
And they find that Abared is running his own coffee shop and has no idea who they are.
Well, I think the fascinating thing about it, without giving away everything of the story, is that it really plays with your mind of that what if perspective, not the Marvel aspect of it, but in a true
an actual good what if.
Well, I wasn't even saying that. I was just saying from a what if perspective of what if this would happen? Like, so I'm working today. What if I lost my job tomorrow? What would happen? What if there's no monsters? What would we do? And it really plays on it, and it still keeps it light and fluffy, where it's not taking that deep, dark, drastic turn, which I appreciate for being a kid's show.
Well, I think it could have gone darker, but
I actually am happy it didn't go
But it
darker.
reminded me of the coffee.
But with it, I do agree it should have been a two-parter, where the first episode is really everyone losing.
And then, well, yeah, I could see that. Because then the end of the episode could have when the Man in the Mask first shows up.
Either when the Man in the Mask first shows up, or when the Man in the Mask takes Yuma and essentially pushes him off the pillar.
And then the pillar was like, well, yeah, our Ultraman fight in that was like 30 seconds long.
Well, I was going to say the Ultra fight was the shortest, and if you're looking for battle heavy episodes, probably the weakest. But it was really that storytelling narrative. And
well, it was weird. It had interesting camera angles, and then again, the color being sucked out of everything, where it almost looked black and white, almost. A really interesting villain who's just like, yeah, I'm here, I'm taking your memories away.
Well, exactly. So
and then when he removes the mask,
and it's just that like vortex with an apple. And not just any apple, a green apple that kind of made me think of the whole sour apple aspect. Because typically most people constitute sour apple with the color green.
Is that why the blow pops are green?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Doesn't necessarily mean that green apples are sour. It's just that perspective. But I did like the macaroni shells that he had around, like in his eyes that were painted. Because the way the mask looked when I first saw it, it looked like a kid's arts and craft project.
It looked like the eyes had been sewn shut to me.
Well, they looked like macaroni shells.
I can see that.
Where I thought they just got those, painted them gold, and stuck a string. That's why I thought of an arts and craft project. It was cool, but
yeah, that episode was incredible. The best thing to come out of Arc.
Now, I do agree with Star Wars fan and Ricardo that Givas is cool. I did like the two-parter with Givas.
I wish we had got to more of Givas.
Well, yes. And I did like the fact that he came down to help fight rather than having Aoi like create or manifest another hero. I did like they returned a different hero. Like Givas heard her cry and came to help.
I will say, though, that episode is not one of my favorites for this season. I actually did not find that episode all that great.
Honestly, I will say it wasn't my favorite episode, but I did for Aoi's episode or 23? Aoi's episode may have not been my favorite, but I can understand the heartbreak when such dreams. Because what she said in her rant before she created
King of
Mons was very true, that everybody has dreams, but only a small percentage of those people truly fulfill their dreams. Star Wars fan broke my heart, but that's okay because I know I'm old. I was born during George W. Bush's running for a second term. Wait, George W. in the early 90s?
2000s.
Well, that's HW.
No.
HW is senior?
I don't know him.
Oh, wait, George W. Bush is junior. Okay, never mind.
I was like, does the old one have a middle initial?
HW.
Because I
reversed them.
I've just heard him called George Bush.
Well,
I've heard that they use the W just to distinguish the two.
Yes. And then what's your favorite episodes of the original Ultraman Heisei trilogy? What's the original Ultraman Heisei trilogy?
I'm assuming they mean Tiga, Dyna, Gaia.
I can't say every. The problem is I only watched Tiga. I never watched Gaia or Dyna. So I can't speak on that. The only thing I know is Shin Asuka. Because everybody complains about the fact that, well, I didn't like Shin Asuka and Gundam Seed Destiny either. But everybody complained because it's the same character name as in Dyna, and apparently Dyna is not as great as Tiga.
Well, actually, my favorite, if I were to pick one episode between all three of those series, it would be my favorite Tiga episode, which is the flower one, the Demon Flowers episode.
Okay, I think I remember that one.
That's the one where they all go out to a picnic and leave Daigo in the base, and it's all got like this distorted lighting.
Oh,
and then the fight against the monster is done like a type of theater style, and you have that.
Oh yes. Okay, now I remember. And then Ricardo says Gami-sama and Cruellica-sama. And then Star Wars fan, and that's fine, Star Wars fan, if you weren't able to join us last night. I know we did.
Blasphemy!
Definitely check it out because we did go off on our diatribes as we always do. But if you haven't caught up on Gov, definitely do so because these episodes were incredible. How's Gov to you two? I've seen a lot of people praising
Gov has been amazing.
Yes.
There's been so much plot development in just the first 16 episodes. The characters have all been likable. There hasn't been a character I have actually said, you know what, I hate that character. I wish they would appear less.
Well, as I made a comment, and I don't want to go too far down because of being Arc, but I will say, as I shared during the video yesterday, that Junko, who is the head writer for the show, I feel as though she has heard a lot of the criticism and feedback from the fans on what was weak, what was strong, and I really see it. I see her putting it into action. Yes, Kaiju does make the comment that there's less characters, so she's able to focus more. Mm-hmm. But even if there's less characters, you can definitely see what her strengths are. And I am a believer, having truly enjoyed Zenkaiger as my Seinfeld series, is that she does know how to create stories. She knows how to create characters. This is giving her the chance to really take the feedback that other people have given and create those characters where they're fully fleshed out. And yes, we're still early in the series, which is amazing. So there's chances for everybody to fuck it up. But overall,
I also think the fact that they were how far in advance they started working on the series helps.
Well,
because they were, when the series premiered, they were already done with the first 20 episodes.
Well, exactly. So they have a chance to kind of play with it to make sure it's working. But it is great. If you haven't watched Gov, definitely check it out. And does that mean his sidekick in Omega would be named Ultraman Alpha? Well, I don't think there's a lower level than Omega. So that could be. But apparently Omega is the strongest Mega in the Mega Man universe. What game is Omega from? I've never played Mega Man except for one of the DS games. And I try to keep him away from playing.
You mean the Battle Network ones?
Yeah.
The Game Boy ones?
Yes.
Okay.
Game Boy, yeah.
I'm trying to remember what Omega. I know there was Omega Weapon in one of the Final Fantasies, which was the ultimate weapon, but I don't remember which Mega Man has Omega. There's too many of them.
And then Ricardo says Trigolos is awesome.
Oh, I was calling him Not-Zetton. So when we're watching him fight Arc, I was just like, Not-Zetton.
Oh, Omega is from 03.
Oh, yes, okay. Not-Zetton.
But so Zetton, the reason he does that is probably to pick on me more so, because Zetton is my favorite Ultraman monster.
All right, so on the subject of episode 23, we've got...
great segue.
We've got Arc gets a call from... long-distance call from Arc's original planet. Well, I guess Yuma does, technically. And telling him, oh, yeah, we found a way to get rid of this energy, so you won't have to worry about us destroying your planet. Except the guy who created that wormhole in the first place is not following the rules because he doesn't feel it's guaranteed. So your planet is still in danger, but congratulations, we have an alternative.
I did feel like that was pretty bullshit because I'm like, congrats. You have an alternative to not destroying the planet, but just so you know, it's only about 50% likely that we can use this alternative because the dude who started the process is like, oh, I don't trust it.
Fake news. It's a hoax. We have to destroy the Earth because there's no guarantee that that's going to actually work.
But I did like in the episode that Ishiro.
Yeah.
Well, I have to remember because we have Ishiro or Chishiro, but his name is actually Ishiro. And I was like, is his name Ishiro?
Oh, you know, for Boom Boomer?
Yes. So I have to remember not to mistranspose their names. But he sees Yuma running towards the monster because that's what Yuma does all the time, and he's actually pulling him back to the point of when Trigolos turns and looks straight at Yuma.
Well, that's because we find out the Onyx Stone is within Yuma now instead of just floating around somewhere across the world.
And then he's like, wait, you are... And
I don't know. I feel like there's like 4 times in this show where Ishido should have realized.
I feel like this episode, Ishido knows. You have to be... Well, I feel like by this point, he has to truly, truly no shit know. But it was one of those when they're driving and he's trying to get Yuma to say, I'm Ultraman. He's not saying it. But he knows the monster's coming after him, and then Yuma gets out of the car, runs, and transforms. Not on screen for him to see, apparently. And then Ishido sees the chief and Rin, and they're talking about what's going on. Ishido is kind of acting like he's calm because he's always had that cool, collected personality. And Rin, no, was it Rin or the chief, calls him out.
It was Rin.
Rin calls him out for acting calm. And that, like, facade just wipes away. And he's like, I am not calm. And I was like, wow, okay. He's like, this is not fair that he's risking his life. And the way he's saying, he is explicitly saying it's Yuma without saying Yuma. And you have Rin, who is just concerned about Arc, and then you have the chief in the middle, who I swear was in sync with Ishido, who actually kind of knows that he's Ultraman because he makes the comment of we just have to stay strong.
So, well, and then we have your typical sequence of Ultraman being crucified,
Oh, I'm sorry. Anytime I see a crucifixion scene in Ultraman or any tokusatsu, I'm like, that is so cool. And then I'm like, wait, I was raised Roman Catholic. That is not cool.
That is totally cool.
It is, but I have
and then
to remember.
the Defense Force comes in, is attacking to save Arc, and then Arc uses some. It was kind of weird. We had Arc transforms into moon form, and they showed the drawing.
And then it comes out of the ground as sun.
But, well, that's the thing, though. They show the drawing Yuma made of Arc with the moon form, and the drawing is what creates the armor to go over him. But then for Sun, he just comes up and he gets the Sun armor. It's like, what? Well, you gotta have consistency. You should have shown the drawing of him with the Sun armor becoming the Sun armor as well.
But if he was underground transforming, you're not going to see it.
Well, it's still, there should have been something to show you that
he was transforming. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I wasn't that worried about it.
And then he does this explosion that wipes out the city.
And you have a crater.
And the next episode is a clip show. What talk about diminishing the frickin' mood of that.
Wow, I like how you're using a finance term for this, diminishing returns.
But you diminish the mood because you're all like, oh my god, what's going on? Oh, there's no episode next week, and the following episode is a clip show. What the fuck? How many clip shows do you need? Are you trying to outdo Gundam Seed Destiny here? Because now that's 4 clip shows in 20, well, now it'll be 29 episodes. Good Dan Gundam Seed Destiny did a clip show for the 3rd last episode of the show. So, why? Just finish the show off. All you're doing is by the time we actually get to episode 24, it's like, where were we? What's going on? What happened?
By the time we fucking watch it, it'll be like that. Oh yeah, they think that Tika, now I'm saying it. They think that Arc is dead.
But it's
Arc is not going to be dead because it doesn't work that way.
No.
Except once in Dawn Brothers. The only time it worked was in Dawn Brothers. But I'm not going there. So we have Kamenar64 telling us, hello. And then Ricardo says, Flower from Tiga is awesome and probably my favorite from Tiga so far. From Dinah, it's probably 38 with the Game Monster. And my favorite from Gaia is probably Agul's Return or the Blitzblotz episode. Blitzblotz? What the hell is Blitzblotz?
Wait. It's Blitz.
Well, he puts down below Blitzblotz.
Okay.
So that's why I just changed the words. And then Anthony Sarkis asks, would you ever, for me specifically, would you ever want to live in Japan? So it's kind of a twofold answer I have for you there. The nerd in me says, absolutely, hell yes, all the otaku, all the tokusatsu is there. The realist in me is I would be kicked out of the country after a while, because even though there are times where I have that no peopling perspective where I can be quiet and very pushed away from people, which jokingly is how some Japanese individuals are, I also am very loud, brash, and obnoxious. I will admit there are times I'm obnoxious, and I also don't do well with my perception of poor service, which means not looking me in the eye and not talking to me. So I would probably be a very bad resident living there. So I think the closest I would ever live to Japan would be in Hawaii, because there's a huge Japanese culture there, but it's still very Americanized. And it's a quick jaunt to Japan if I ever wanted to go there. But that's the closest I would ever live. But in reality, it would be a pipe dream. And from some of the stuff I've seen online, It's kind of like meeting your heroes.
I would have to be in my own house if I was going to live in Japan. I couldn't be in an apartment with those.
I couldn't live in a house. I have seen way too many fucking movies.
I can't do an apartment that's like walls this thin, plus not enough room for all the stuff we have.
Well, I could not live in a house because what if somebody was killed there? I do not want to die by some malevolent ghost who is just pissed off.
This is not Ju-on.
Oh, I look at all of it. But in all honesty, joking aside, it would be great to visit, but I think I'm way too American for a country that doesn't like the over brashness of Americans. I don't think, in my personal perspective, that extreme extroverts should live in a country that has a very muted and more introverted perspective. Like him and Silverquill would do great in Japan because you already don't like physical contact. You already stay away from people. You don't look people in the eye unless you have to. No, and that's not a rude thing.
I do.
No, not everybody does. Not everybody's comfortable.
Yeah, but I say I do. But I do.
Yes, but you don't do it all the time.
Well, not if I'm not talking to them.
Well, that's what I mean. And so, long story short, I would love to visit. I would never live. And then,
Real Ricardo says 23 was good, but not their favorite. The ending was cool. They want to see it 24 now.
Yes. And then I'm going to ask you this and keep it short. Who's worse in your opinion, Ezra Miller or Amber Heard?
Miller.
I 1,000% agree that it's Miller because
I have, as much as a horrible person Amber Heard seems to be, I haven't seen videos of her choking fans in bars, kidnapping Native American children, having a compound full of guns and drugs, being harbored by Warner Brother or DC after all those crimes.
So for me, one, I don't have documented proof of Amber Heard's crimes. And having lived in a childhood of abuse, I know how to see the telltale signs. It's not to say that Amber Heard wasn't abusive. It's not to say that Johnny Depp wasn't abusive, but they're two fucked up individuals. Ezra Miller, I look down upon because I don't feel comfortable with anyone who has recorded physical violence, same with Puffy, and
Poopy.
Any documented grooming. I have lived a very toxic childhood, and I know grooming firsthand, and I can't deal with that for kids. But moving on, Star Wars, not say that your question isn't great, so I could go on a TED Talk about this. Star Wars fan mentions that 2 more episodes are their prediction on how this will end. I'm not sure. I'm assuming 2 more as well because of that 25 numerical episode count.
Oh,
but who knows? And then Ricardo, I do agree. I hate clip shows. I am not a fan of clip shows, especially for shorter series. Like, I understand if a series is like Gundam, not Destiny, but like the original Gundam or any of the 3 Universal Century series. I can understand a clip show being it because it's such a long series. Sometimes you need that time to regroup if it's been many months since you've seen the prior episodes. But for day-to-day, absolutely not. And then Blitzblots is a monster in Gaia with a very cool design. And, here we go. And Ricardo also said that A Ghoul's Return is one of my favorites due to the soundtrack. A Ghoul's theme is my favorite Toku theme ever.
And then Gaia has one of the best soundtracks of any Toku ever.
Well, here's a question.
Gaia was done by the guy who did Agito, Big O, and all those things. So,
well, isn't Big O has so much copyrighted music?
Well, for the opening, it does have a combination. But okay, so yeah, that it's a pain in the ass that we have 2 episodes left, but we have to wait like 3 freaking years to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so annoying because obviously they were off this Friday.
Well, it's not technically 3 freaking years, but I understand.
It feels like 3 freaking years. But they were off this Friday. They come back this upcoming Friday, and now they have a clip show. It's like, why didn't you have the clip show last week, or no clip show, and just come right back?
Well, so the reason why I think they're doing a clip show next week, I don't agree. I personally think they shouldn't have an episode next week because it comes out on the 3rd. So it's just after New Year's.
Yeah, it's Friday.
So there's probably still New Year's celebrations going on in Japan.
So just not have an episode then.
Well, just do like a rerun. I guess that's the question. Does Japan do reruns?
I have no idea.
I imagine they probably do. But I know like this time of year for a lot of American shows, if they're not on a continuing cycle, they put reruns for those periods just to keep them going. And do you think so?
Clip shows are the biggest.
Well, first it's Toshiki Sahashi who does those soundtracks. And then do you think clip shows are the biggest plague in Toku?
I won't say that because sometimes they're needed to catch up the audience or they have a purpose. I don't think there's a reason for clip shows anymore in modern society
with
people can watch the shows streaming and whatever. But I get it that they're cheap, that if you have a week that you need to
fill time
because you're behind production or something, that's one thing. But when you've got this show that is 25 episodes with, well, technically, I guess 28 with the clip show. Mm-hmm. But you got 28 episodes, 4 freaking clip shows. That is way too much. Even one clip show as episode 13 is too much at times.
Certainly. I actually personally believe if you're going to have a 25 episode series and there is a need for a clip show, I do agree having it in the middle and just having that one. Because the other reason for clip shows at times is it's to help sell toys. And that's the reason why I feel like there's so many clip shows in this show is maybe there is not a lot of choices.
The hard part also is, okay, like people are saying, well, there's Golden Week and they have Tanabata Festival. That's why there's a clip show usually in the first after episode 5 of the series. Well, that's fine and all, but then why doesn't Sentai and Kamen Rider have this many clip shows? And those are yearly series.
Well, that's what I wonder. Because
it's like because Sentai only usually does a clip show for the weekend when the Kamen Rider series has its finale, and the Kamen Rider series sometimes have a clip show only when the Sentai series has had its finale. So I don't understand why they get away with only not having all these clip shows, but Ultraman has to have a billion freaking clip shows.
Now, if they're doing it to pad the period of time of how many cores it sits in, because Japanese television is much more structured.
That wouldn't make sense either, because since most anime are 12 or 24 episodes now.
Well, what I was going to say is Japan is very structured because we have what's called sweeps periods. So either in the spring or in the fall, that's when our new series starts. In Japan, they have what's called quarters, and they're just like quarters. So 4 quarters, but they don't fall exactly when the quarters go.
And it also changes upon network.
Well, yes.
Because some anime series might start 2-3 weeks before another one.
Well, and you have some anime series that don't follow the core period because of like One Piece or Detective Conan and stuff like that, which are continuously running. And same thing with Doraemon.
Right, but I don't understand why there's so many clip shows in Ultraman when the other Toku series don't do that.
Well, there's probably reasoning behind I wouldn't think it's a Subaraya decision. I think it's probably because it's Bandai that still manages the toy aspect, right?
Bandai owns half of Subaraya.
So I think it's purposely not Subaraya, Bandai who stipulates.
Either way, they need to get
periods.
that. They need to get this clip show stick out of their ass.
Well, money's money. So until they figure out a better way to make it,
especially when you have 2 episodes left.
Well, I am curious though, if having more engagement from international audiences or global audiences watching Ultraman, I wonder if those numbers, because go back to episode 23. What is the view count on the Japanese? So just go to where episode 23 is. So we have 287K. That is pittance compared to some of the random ass YouTubers. 347. So it's not a terrible number.
Well, and remember, they also have the dub as separate on a separate channel now.
Oh, so this is just
the Japanese version that's just subtitled. This doesn't include the English dubs.
Oh, okay. Then I'm probably wrong on that. So it probably can go even closer to 1 million mark on it. But if you think about the content, that could be something that they're still trying to figure out. Maybe clip shows will go away when they know how it's going to be received internationally. Because this is series number...
Okay, well, look at this. Hugh's Report, 217K views. And that was the clip show episode.
Mm-hmm.
Flash in the Past, 328. So they're already like over 100K more for non-clip show episodes.
Well, let me ask you this question. When you stop going through.
What?
So how many series have they been airing simultaneously between here and Japan for Ultraman?
Since Zet.
So that's 5?
Yes.
So I'll be curious to know then, because I thought this was maybe like 3.
Here's special recap, episode 1. The first recap they did. 181K.
So I'll be curious to see if they look at these numbers and try to find a way to make it better.
And then if we look, episode 7 is 400. Episode 6 is 417. So this doesn't even have... It's not even half the number between the two.
Well, yeah. So I'll be curious to see how they get around that. And you never know. It could also be the TV network at the same time. Because there's 3 parties that are always involved in how episodes are produced. The studio, for Tokusatsu at least, the studio, the toy company, and then the television network that airs it. And if all 3 are not in agreement, things can go haywire. So sometimes you have to play the game of who is going to be in agreement for what. Going back to the comments here, we have Mr. Arrowverse16 saying, hello, everyone. Hi. And they say, I know this isn't a Toku show, but it is anime, and Pokemon had clip shows for 3 of their series.
Yes, but how many episodes were each of those Pokemon series?
Well, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z each had clip shows. Well, I think Z had a clip show. Just one, though. I think it was in between not Boo. It was in between Cell to the start of the Great Salmon Arc. I thought they had a clip show to recap everything that happened in the Cell games before you see Gohan grown up. I could be wrong, but I thought there was. I could be. It's been a long time since I've seen
I'm trying to remember if there was a clip show. I think there was.
But I know a lot of anime do have clip shows at times as well. So it's not unheard of for anime to do it. Obviously, we make the joke about Gundam Seed Destiny having 4 clip shows.
No. It had more than 4 clip shows.
Well, it was 4 clip shows in a row, wasn't it?
No.
Pretty close to each other?
No. Gundam Wing had 2 clip shows in a row.
Oh, yes.
No, Wolf's Rain had 4 clip shows in a row.
Oh, God, yes, it did!
Because then they had to air the last 4 episodes, make the last 4 episodes be OVAs, because it had 4 clip shows in a row. One Piece had 4 clip shows in a row during the Enies Lobby section.
Well, the first 10 minutes of a number of their episodes are fucking clip shows. I noticed that when watching Enies Lobby, is that some of the episodes would pad the beginning that would be like clip shows of like the last 10 episodes.
Yeah, it'd be like the first 7 minutes were recap.
And I'm like, okay, that's a lot of padding. So all shows do it. My God, even American shows are notorious for having occasional clip shows.
Simpsons, Fox actually wanted a clip show every season for The Simpsons, and they told them no. They said that when they did their first clip show,
well, that wouldn't work for their show.
When they did their first clip show in season 4, Fox is like, no, we want a clip show every year, and they were like, no, we'll give you a clip show every few years, but we will not give you a clip show every season.
But yeah, every franchise, every property does a clip show. Because there's some, depending on what it is. And that's, I think, the way to say it is depending on what it is. You will have a lot of clip shows.
Well, one of the
because even my Law and Order show had a clip show.
Well, one of the freaking Yu-Gi-Oh series recently, I can't remember which one it was, had in the first 25 episodes, I think 4 clip shows in that Yu-Gi-Oh series.
So it's not that clip shows are bad because they're always going to serve a purpose to the way they can be. But it's usually the frustration on clip shows is how many they will have per series. So just going back to this again, the core number of episodes that we've been getting for Ultraman series for the last 5 years, I'm going to say, is 25 episodes. I'm rounding
10
down.
years.
Okay, fine. Last
Almost
10 years. Can I just finish my comment?
No.
In the last 10 years.
8 years.
Jesus Christ!
Let's just say 8 years.
Okay, fine. The last 8 years.
Well, actually.
has been 25 episodes. And in that 25 episode count, you have had one clip show within that 25 episode number. And then you've had on top of that, do not interrupt me because I will punch you. You've had times where they've had...
So abusive.
It's mental health issue. But anyways, you've had special episodes. So where a 25 episode series can go by in, 6 months? Because it's a half-year core. Can take up to 7 or 8 months because then you have these special episodes that really do take away the flow.
As we're seeing with this, because it started in the first or second week of July,
mm-hmm.
and now it's going into mid to late January.
So that's the problem with clip shows. If you have too many, that can lose your engagement of your audience. But that's not to say you should boycott all clip shows because many times there is a purpose for it. because there are times where you'll have clip shows where you'll see it from a different character's perspective. Like one of the 01 clip shows, you saw it from what were their name? The wolf guy is Inner Nagi or Naga? But whomever, for the wolf, the secondary writer, his internal monologue, the character's name, I believe, was Naga. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. Naga. But nevertheless, one of the clip shows, you saw everything from Naga's perspective, kind of standing behind him. So sometimes you get to see things in a clip show that you wouldn't see in a regular series. So it happens all the time. And then Star Wars fan, Ricardo does ask, what's your favorite Toku soundtrack? I truthfully don't listen to the entire soundtrack because I'm not a huge fan of just listening to the random music of just the fights and things like that. It doesn't mean that they're not cool, but I don't go out of my way to listen to them all the time. He does. So I could probably state the favorites that he has played nonstop for me.
Okay, go with that
usually
first.
Like Die Ranger. You've recently done Dawn Brothers. So those types of series. As for me, I am more of a fan of opening and closing music, or if they do have like insert music.
Okay,
as well.
but which do you think is my favorite Toku soundtrack?
I have no clue. It can't be Die Ranger because you don't listen to it enough.
Okay, but what are the biggest two that I listen to the soundtracks a lot of?
Castlevania.
No. Okay, what sounds like Castlevania?
Kamen Rider. Well, it's Wataru. Kamen Rider. Shit. Now I'm. Break the Chain.
Okay, no, I don't listen to the Kiva soundtrack.
Oh, Kiva. Yeah, my brain just went.
There have been 2 Toku soundtracks I listen to all the time in the car.
In truth, I usually just tone them out. Unless it's like a theme song, I usually tone the shit out. I promise you, I don't mean to, but you just have it blasting and it's just random music, and I'm like, The only time I care and listen is honestly when you're playing the shows from GTA. Because even Castlevania, it's probably Time Ranger knowing my luck, but
nope. It's a Kamen Rider series and another Toku series.
Okay.
That's not Sentai or Kamen Rider.
Blade?
Blade for Kamen Rider is one song.
I don't remember you listening to Blade.
I have all 4 discs digitally.
I've never heard you listen to Blade in the car.
Oh my god. And the other one.
Oh God, help me. I've never listened to you. Now I'm going to be stuck for the next 10 years listening to Blade every time he's in the car.
Yeah, I was going to say tomorrow on our way to the movies, we're going to be listening to Blade.
Oh my God.
On the way to the restaurant after the movies, we're going to be listening to Blade.
I should have not said that. I just toned them out because...
And the other one that is my top favorite soundtrack is Garo.
Oh, that does make sense. I do remember you occasionally listen to Garo. And sometimes I just tone that out because... So I was in band. I played band for years. So you have no
taste for good music.
But I like music that has words to it. That's my family. Even though I played band and I know how to play most of the instruments.
This is what I grew up on, the Batman soundtrack.
Because your mother doesn't like music with words. She probably thinks they're hippies. She probably thinks it's devil music, even though she's a fucking atheist.
Therefore, I grew up on actually listening to the music side, not just trying to hear what words are.
I know the music side. I know how to play the drums. I know how to play a guitar. I know how to play the clarinet.
Cool, you know how to play it, but
play a keyboard.
No, you know how to play it, but you don't know how to listen to it.
I do know how to listen to it because I call out every single time.
Okay.
Oh, no, let me finish. Because every time we listen to live music or we listen to music, I call out every single time somebody makes a wrong note.
Okay, what's my 3 favorite anime soundtracks?
I am not going there because God help me.
What are the 3 anime soundtracks I always listen to in the car?
This is why I'm going to so fail because I truthfully tone them all out. Well, I used to think it was Gankutsu.
I do listen to that one a lot, but okay. Give me 2 more. The 2 big ones that I listen to all the time.
All I know is Castlevania.
Actually, I guess technically there's 4, but
do we own it? Stop growing! Fine. Do we own the series?
Yes.
Was Speed Griffer one of them?
No. Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, my favorite anime soundtrack ever.
Well, that's because it has a lot of music with words I enjoy. And nobody plays out of tune.
Noir is
just boring.
Noir and
Die.
And the other one from her? Les Portraits des Petites Cosettes.
Oh my god.
And
I feel like
Card Game.
Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! You haven't listened to in years.
That's because we lost the soundtracks.
Yes.
I have to re-download all of them.
Ooh. No, I love music. I can listen to music without words, but sometimes a lot of the music that he listens to based on his mom's perspective is just so boring.
You need to know how to listen to music.
I know. Have you ever played an instrument?
No, but there's a difference between playing and listening.
You have to know how to listen to play an instrument. You have to know the beats.
No, it's not the same thing. All right, anyway, let's get to other comments. Have you seen Medabots? No, I have not seen Medabots.
Okay. You can tell yours. Okay, fine. Let me go back to the. Okay, we got Medabots. Happy Christmas and Happy New Year to Games by Mark Wolf. And then Power Rangers did a clip show for their Christmas episodes. I guess.
I only remember. I never saw those ones. So that was from the Neo Saban era. I never watched those.
And Ricardo says Happy New Year. Yes, everyone Happy New Year. Games by Mark Wolf said he already got his Christmas present. He already won. Yes, unfortunately, with this music argument, he has sadly won. And do you prefer 25 episodes instead of traditional 49 or 50 episodes?
Yes. I prefer the half-year format.
So you prefer the 25 versus the full year?
Yes.
I actually have to say it depends on the series. Like Sailor Moon, I enjoyed the full year format.
Well, Sailor Moon never reached 50 episodes, though.
Sometimes I do feel if they can fulfill the entirety of the story in that half-year format, absolutely great.
But that's the thing. The half-year format allows them to put more money into each episode because they're not stretching the budget out for an entire year. You have more time to work on the series, unless you're Trigger, and it lets you have a tighter story, unless you're Trigger, because then you actually can condense everything into 25 episodes, have less filler. Unless you're Trigger.
And I feel bad for everybody because they're making weird comments. So, Arrowverse says Pokemon Advanced Series had one clip show, and that clip show was during its 8th season, which is pretty amazing to get through 8 anime seasons with only one clip show.
Especially because I'm assuming the Pokemon seasons were year-round.
I'm not sure about that. And then Pokemon had after the original series, had to at least 52 episodes like Diamond and Pearl series. Okay. And then Games by Mark Wolf says nonstop. Yes, we do argue nonstop, but we love you all. An Arrowverse and Pearl series had 52 episodes for the first 3 seasons. So season 10 through 12 in English and 34 episodes in season 13. But season 10 had a clip show episode as well as season 12. And then Kiva, yes, I had to think about it. Beyblade and Bakugan had clip shows. And then Ricardo asks for me, what are my favorite opening and closing songs? So for Tokusatsu, yes, that's much easier for me. I will say my favorite opening song for Tokusatsu is actually Hurricanegers. I love Hurricanegers opening. And then for closing, I actually will have to admit it is what?
No, nothing. Go on.
We're not getting into another argument, children. I promise you. Well, most likely because you never like my joke. I'm kidding. But Hurricaneger is absolute top tier favorite opening.
Yeah, you said it already.
And then for closing, I'd probably go with Ryuki's.
There is no closing for Ryuki.
I thought Ryuki had a closing.
No. Oh, the only Kamen Riders that had a closing were Hibiki.
I swear I had a closing song.
No.
I swear I heard 2 songs for Ryuki.
Nope.
Okay, then I'm going crazy. Okay,
Kuga had a closing.
yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But wait, yes,
Kuga's
closing is where the 2 lovers are ships passing in the wind. That entire closing.
No. Kuga's is when he's sleeping that I compared to Save Tonight.
Jesus Christ, I am terrible with these Kamen Rider closings. Okay,
That's because there aren't really that many Kamen Rider closings for new stuff.
All right, I'm gonna go away from that, and I will actually say probably Garo's closing song.
Which one?
Goldstorm.
Okay.
Because you hated it. You didn't hate that one. You didn't like it, but you didn't hate it.
I'm trying to remember which one that was.
And so
Was that no, that's not the one with the characters from all the shows dancing. Because that was the closing to
yeah, that's no, actually, yeah. No, yes, it was. Because I like the first closing.
For Goldstorm?
Mm-hmm.
That was the one with the girl with the female actress in the show?
Yeah. I didn't like the second one because it was too slow for me.
Okay.
And then Kaiju, you can tell yours.
For what?
Your favorite opening and closing.
Oh man, I have to think.
But anyways,
okay, my favorite. I don't know if I have like a strictly favorite opening like overall. Like my favorite Sentai opening is Time Ranger. My favorite Kamen Rider opening is Break the Chain from Kiva.
No.
My favorite.
Okay, go to closing now.
Closing. Probably, I don't know, maybe the Deca Ranger closing?
Actually, that was a good one. And then Blade is cool, but I prefer Kuga a bit better from Ricardo. And then not by a long shot, I guess. And then Mark Wolf says, your mom sounds like she has good taste in music. LOL. No, she doesn't.
Well, my mom's going to have good taste in something once in a while.
Touche, but no, I like her Stephen King interests.
Let's see. And then
Aga Maiba Kawaishi me Yoi ni Kei. I don't know what it means. You have to scroll down.
Agamabai wa Kawashi Yoni Kelly.
Does that mean care? Because I know my name in Japanese would pronounce like Kain.
Yeah, I thought that's what.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then we've got. I don't know Cobra Kai, so.
I've never watched Cobra Kai.
I don't even know. I know I've heard people talk about it, but I don't even know what Cobra Kai is.
You can leave now.
What?
You can leave now.
I don't know what Cobra Kai.
Do you know the series? Do you know the movie Karate Kid?
By name, yes, and because it has the old guy that says "wax on, wax off," that they took that I know from Ninja Turtles.
Yes, yeah, and the villains were part of the Cobra Kai group. That's it.
Okay, is that the one where the guy screams "Adrian"? Is that
No, that's Rocky.
Oh, that's Rocky.
Oh my God! See, this is why you can say all you want that his mom has good taste in music, but clearly he never watched a movie.
Well, I don't watch.
Don't you dare say
boxing movies.
It's so much more than a boxing movie.
Which, Rocky or Karate Kid?
Karate Kid has nothing to do with boxing. It's in the title what it's about.
But isn't there a tournament?
Not a boxing tournament.
Okay, whatever.
What do you think karate is? Please tell me.
Well, karate.
What do you think karate is?
Karate is the stuff where they jump at each other and say "Hya, hya, wah." Or is that kung fu?
Oh my God.
Which is the one that was made up in America?
Taekwondo.
Oh, Taekwondo. That's the one made up in America. Are you sure?
Yes.
But it says Thai.
It technically is based on.
So it's a John Doe.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Anyway, we're getting way off task, so we probably should end it here.
But anyways, let me just finish here.
Your reading was very wrong.
Making of a site. By the way, okay. Let me just. V3, he's watching it. He is kind of enjoying it. Making of a Cyborg, Ghost in a Shell. My favorite common rare opening and ending is Let's Go Rider Kick and Lonely Rider. Both awesome. Your reading was very good, Cruellica. Karate Kid. Oh, yeah. And then, dude, Kaiju, you've never seen the Karate Kid series. Cruellica, please help him. I've been trying. He's never, okay, to make it even worse, he's never seen the Back to the Future series. He's never seen the Rocky series. Oh my God, there's a number of series he has never seen. The only thing he keeps on watching is the Halloween series. Because once he started watching Halloween, it became the greatest fucking thing ever. And
I wouldn't go that far.
And I am like, dude, I have watched them all. And so then we have Kaiju. Watch the Karate Kid movies. Ignore the fourth one, the next Karate Kid. 1000% agree. What is happening right now by Mark Wolf? And Arrowverse is like, I don't know. Arrowverse is like, oh my fucking God, you're killing me, Spalls.
Oh, I get that reference. Because that's Sandlot. I love Sandlot.
Watch the freaking Karate Kid movies and Back to the Future.
All right, with that said.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I'd rather not.
Back to the Future is a milestone. So is Karate Kid. If nothing else, you would get some of the Samurai Jack references.
I don't need the Samurai Jack references when I already enjoy Samurai Jack.
But everyone, now you see what I put up with.
All right, so as always, click like, subscribe, the bell notification. Where else you have to click on to support us? You can support us on Patreon and Bluesky at Toku Network, Facebook, Instagram, Discord at Kaiju no Kami. The website is creativitybydesign.llc.com. You can buy cool Kaiju no Kami merchandise at creativitybydesign.llc.com/shop. There's a link in the description below. I have a GoFundMe going on. I just need to get a quick little video out that I recorded 2 days ago to post up on about it. And that's pretty much all. Be on the lookout for the best and worst lists for movies of the year. And I think that's it. This is our final live stream for 2024. We'll probably do a live stream of Boom Boom during the next week, though, after the new year. And until next time.
Bye, and Happy New Year, everyone. Stay safe out there.
And